Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. My name is Aaliyah Clausen and I'm one of the team members here. And at Learn, Do, Become, we help people who are drowning in the details of life to create simple systems so they can do what matters most. And this has been such a huge theme lately in my life to know that I have these simple systems going on to support me when I have so much going on with family, my husband in school, my work stuff, our community involvement. There's just so much going on right now, but I can trust that everything is safe in my STEP Command Central. And in fact, today's podcast episode is all about processing the items that come into our life physically and digitally. And I'm going to walk you through a few of those things today and use our 8-step processing questions to show you exactly how I approach certain items. And then once I process them, they're good to go. They're in my system and I don't have to worry about them. And it's just such a wonderful feeling to know that things are safe and I can trust that when I need a certain item, it will come back to me in my Command Central. And if you're listening to this podcast when it goes live, we have a special announcement. We are having a live session of our STEP Momentum Accountability Group starting on Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025, and our kickoff call is that day at 10 a.m. Pacific. Now, this is available for all of our STEP Mastery members, so it's included with their program, and we also have a page for everyone who wants to check out what STEP Momentum is, and if you want to come into our mastery program and be a part of this wonderful accountability group, you can find all the details at learndobecome.com/momentum. And if you're a member of our self-study or STEP Starter program, we have promo codes that you can use to upgrade and apply what you've already paid to the program. So I'll share more details at the end. But essentially, it's an opportunity for you to go through the entire STEP program in 3 weeks using our 3-week timeline. And we have homework assignments via email and text that you'll get 3 times a week for those 3 weeks. And then we have a week for catching up and implementing the program however you need to kind of tie up any loose ends. And then we have a live graduation call for everyone who completes the program. And it's just such a fun celebration to get to meet live with our steppers, those who are going through our STEP program. And also it's so exciting for you to be able to see results in 3 weeks. And it's super fun. So anyways, that's starting live on September 3rd at 10 a.m. Pacific. And then we also have a virtual on-demand option of the same accountability group. So if you're like, hey, I still want to come into the STEP Mastery program, but I just want to do this on my own time when I have more flexibility, we have the on-demand version that you can sign up for anytime inside your STEP Mastery program. Okay, and now we're going to go on to the podcast, but I just wanted to make that announcement because it's coming up. We're getting so close, and our team is putting all the final finishing details on it, and we're so excited. But now we're going to go on to the podcast, and you can find the whole written version at learndobecome.com/episode 299, and I'll have everything written there for you. Okay, so I'm going to follow our 8 processing questions. Again, these questions are on the show notes page if you want to read them. But I'm just going to quickly go through each question and help you see what I would do exactly as I'm processing my inbox. And it's actually the weekend when I'm recording this, when I process my inbox. So my family is home. You may hear them in the background. But all right, let's start with the first item. The first thing is a letter that we got from Honda. They sent something to us because they said that there was a warranty extension on something and we can send it back if we want to do something with the warranty thing. And I actually have never gotten one of these before. So I have the papers in front of me and I'm going to go through the 8 processing questions now. 1, is an action required? Yes. 2, can I do it in 2 minutes or less? I don't think so. I think I need to actually look at this because it's car related and that's not my natural strong suit. So not 2 minutes or less. Does it belong on my routines list? No. Do I need to add any projects to my tiered list? No. Is there a deadline? Not that I can see on the paper right away. I probably do need to do something in a timely manner, but I don't see a deadline right on these papers. So question number 6 says, what is the next action? I need to put it on my next actions list under the home section because I need to probably sit down sometime when I'm at home, read through these 3 or 4 papers they sent me, and then decide if I want to fill out our information and send it back to them in the envelope they provided. So a next action typically takes somewhere between 10 to 20-ish minutes to complete. So I think this fits into the next action category pretty nicely, and I would just write it down underneath the home section of my next actions list. Question 7, are there any associated support materials? Yes, these papers. And I have a little file folder where I keep next action related papers. And so I would just put these papers into my folder for next action items. And then on my next actions list, I could put a little note at the end that says, see this folder for the papers. And then I'm good to go. Question number 8 says, am I totally clear on when I will see this and complete it? And the answer is yes. I know the papers are safe, and then it's going to be one of my flexible next action tasks to complete sometime during the week. All right, this next item in front of me is an envelope that has a card from our son. My brother-in-law is living in Texas, and we're going to send him a little card letting him know that we're thinking about him. So my son drew a little picture for him, and then I wanted to either have my husband write him a little note, or I thought it might be fun to send him a couple pictures that he could have, that he could see, like updates of our family. I think he sometimes gets them digitally, but sometimes it's fun to have physical pictures. So my next action for this envelope's just been sitting here in my inbox for the week. I'm going to go through the 8 processing questions. So the first question is an action required? Yes. Can I do it in 2 minutes or less? No. Does it belong on my routines list? No. Do I need to add any projects to my tiered list? No. Is there a deadline? Not really. It's pretty flexible on my own time. Number 6 is, what is the next action? So I would put this on my computer section of my next actions list because I want to go on my Google Photos, quickly download, 2 or 3 recent pictures of our family, and then mail them to him. But first I need to get them printed at the store. So my next action on the computer section would be find the photos on Google Photos and then send them to the store to get printed. And I'm pretty fast at that. It takes maybe, 2 minutes to find the pictures because I have them pretty organized. So yeah, I'll call that a next action, to find the pictures and then send them off to be printed. And then once I get the email that the pictures are ready, then it becomes one of my errand next actions to run to the store, pick them up, and then I can quickly put them in the envelope, and I already have a stamp on the envelope, and it's pretty much ready to go. So all that's hinging on being able to send this letter to our brother-in-law is just me going on Google Photos and searching and then sending them off to print. So that's my next action. Question number 7, are there any associated support materials? Yes, this envelope, it's going to go in the same folder as the car warranty stuff. And question number 8, am I totally clear on when I will see it and complete it? Yes, I am. It's right in the folder where everything goes, and it's one of my next actions. All right, this next item is a bank card that I had to get replaced. It's like a bank fraud thing, so nothing too serious, but the card is inactive, and it's just sitting in my inbox. So question 1, is an action required? Yes. Can I do it in 2 minutes or less? Yes, I can. I can chop up the card. I think I put it in my inbox thinking I would need it. And if I'm being honest, this fell kind of to the side of my inbox. And so I didn't even process it in the last couple weeks. So since putting the card near my inbox, which it didn't actually make it into my inbox, whoops. Since that happened, I had everything resolved, got the new card, got everything resolved with the bank. So everything's good to go on their end, on my end. So 2 minutes or less, I'm just going to chop up this card, and I'm going to be a little more careful to make sure that I don't put things next to my inbox, that it actually gets right in there. All right, the next item is kind of random. I'm not even sure how it ended up here. I think I must have just been cleaning up the kitchen and piling up my stuff to put in the inbox. So it's a random piece of a kid's toy that I think needs to go back with the other pieces. So is an action required? Yes. Can I do it in 2 minutes or less? Yes, I can. I just need to go put it next door in our kid's toy closet, and then I should be done with that. So again, we always talk about protecting your inbox, making sure it doesn't get filled with everyone else's things. I think I was just cleaning up the kitchen too fast and kind of swept in a couple unnecessary things. So we're all human here at Learn to Become. Sometimes our inboxes get filled with not so perfect things. And this is an example of something that probably shouldn't have ever ended up in my inbox, but it did. But I processed it. It's going to go back in the toy area, and we are good to go. All right, this next thing is I have a photo frame. It's empty right now, and I think I put it in my inbox because I wanted to take action on it and put a picture in it and to get it hung on our wall, because I just love having all of our frames used and nothing empty, and love having lots of art everywhere. So the first thing says, is an action required? Yes. Number 2, can I do it in 2 minutes or less? Probably not. Does it belong on my routines list? No. Do I need to add any projects to my tiered list? No. Is there a deadline? Nope. What is the next action? I need to decide what photo goes in this frame, and then I also need to send it off to print. And honestly, it's kind of nice that I have this with my other item to send to our brother-in-law, because I can just kind of add on an extra side task for myself and say, add 1 extra photo to the order, and then that way it saves me a trip and I can process it all at the same time. So I'm going to add a little note next to that next actions list thing that I already wrote about and say, add 1 more photo for our wall. And since we just had our daughter 2 months ago and we don't have any pictures of her on the wall, I think I'll just pick one of our favorite ones with her, and then we should be good to go. So that's kind of nice to be done with that one pretty quick. Question number 7 said, are there any associated support materials? Yes, this frame, and I have a little box where I keep items related to my next actions. So I can put in parentheses next to the next action that the frame is waiting for me in the box. And then question number 8, am I totally clear on when I will see this and complete it? Yes, I am. Okay, next item is kind of a big one, but I just set it in my inbox after getting home from a trip. We met up with my parents for a weekend, and they brought back a souvenir from their recent trip to Kenya. They were able to go because our Arise membership helped to donate the funds for a classroom there. So my parents went with an organization called Village Impact, and they had a really great time there celebrating the opening of the school and the donation that the Arise membership was able to help make to contribute to that school. And I believe my parents will do a podcast and share more details about that. You can find more on the Facebook page and our Instagram. They have a couple highlights there. But anyways, my parents brought back a souvenir for us, and it's this beautiful painting, but they had to take the canvas off of the frame because it was too big to fit in their suitcases. So we have this beautiful painting, and I thought it'd be pretty easy to just get the canvas and stretch it and get it ready to go on our wall. But I've actually never done this before, and I felt pretty stumped. And it's been sitting in my inbox for the last week, and I know that I need to do something with it, but I haven't quite got to that point yet. And I think this is a perfect example of how sometimes we get items in our lives that we just don't know what to do with them, and then they just sit and they collect dust and we feel stressed about them, but we also don't want to do anything with them because it just feels like there's too many next steps, or we can't really pinpoint that next step. So that's kind of where I was at with this painting. But I sat down and I said, okay, I'm just going to take it through the processing questions, and I felt really good by the end of it. And I want to kind of recreate that here as I'm processing my inbox here on the podcast, because I did a little bit of an internal processing. Now that I've been doing my Command Central, my processing for about 10 years now, the questions are kind of automatic and I know usually what to do with it. So I think it definitely is an art. You definitely get way better at processing the more you do it. So let's go through the questions. 1, is an action required? Yes. 2, can I do it in 2 minutes or less? No. 3, does it belong on my routines list? No. 4, do I need to add any projects to my tiered list? Now, this will likely become one of my current projects once I figure out what I need to do. For me, I personally don't love putting things on my current projects list until I know that they are for sure a project and I have a general plan. So this could go on my next in line list, or I could put it on my waiting list. I have a waiting list that's below my current projects list. So there's some options there, up to you to decide how you want to do it. So I won't put this on my current projects list yet until I have a better framework of what needs to happen. But I will put it on my waiting projects list, so that way I know it's sitting there, it's waiting for me. It's not really able to be moved forward on yet. I need to do a little step first. So I'm going to move to question 5 here. Is there a deadline? No. Question 6, what is the next action? Well, the first thing I need to do is research what I should even do and research the different options to figure out what kind of project I should add to my current projects list. So underneath the computer section on my next actions list, I'm going to write down that I'm going to spend a few minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, researching how to stretch a canvas onto a frame, seeing if there's different kits that people recommend, seeing if there's one resource that's better than the other, or that might be more beginner friendly, that's where I'm at. So that is the first next action I'm going to take. I'm not going to stress myself out and say that I need to do a million things right now or make it a current project. I'm just giving myself one simple next action, and I'm going to start with that, and it's going to be great. So that is my little encouragement. I know that we all have items in our lives that maybe seem easy at first, and then we realize this is going to take a lot longer than I thought. Or we have something that's just been sitting around for a long time and we don't know quite where to begin. So that's my encouragement to you, that you can totally do this. Just start with your very first next action, which is probably doing some research. Maybe it's asking some friends on Facebook what they would do. Maybe it's asking a neighbor down the street who's done something similar, or just searching on Google or on YouTube to find a tutorial. So there's so many resources at the ready for us, especially online, and sometimes that just needs to be the very first next action. I need to do some research, and then I can make it one of my projects. So question 7, are there any associated support materials? Yes, the support materials is this big canvas. So I'm going to put it in our office closet and leave a little note at the end of the waiting list project title. I'll write down that it is in the closet so I can find it really easy. And then question 8, am I totally clear on when I will see this and complete it? Yes, I know that I'll see it, and I'll see it on my next actions list, and I'll complete that next action. And then ultimately, if I'm doing my research and I decide that this is going to take a lot longer, or it's going to be more time intensive or labor intensive than I can currently take on right now, I'll just move the project to my next in line projects list, and that's totally fine. I can leave it there and know that it's safe, and I can even paste a link to the YouTube video I watch or whatever I'm able to find when I research. I'll just put that resource inside I have a project management tool. I use Asana, Asana. That's just what I like to use. And so it has a section for links and a description of the project. So I can just put all of that there and know that it's safe. And then I can move on to the next thing I need to process. All right, I have 2 more items here. Actually 3. We'll go through these kind of quickly. So the next thing in my inbox is a flash drive, and my husband and I recently cleaned out a couple drawers in our office. We did a whole project for the month of April, and we cleaned out all of our drawers and pretty much our whole house. We decluttered and stuff. But there were a few things that we had to work on as projects. And one of the projects that came from our big project of organizing the whole house was we found a big box of flash drives. And there's maybe 20 flash drives in there. I think we had both accumulated them from our elementary, middle school, high school, and college years. There was just random flash drives. Most of them were so old they could barely hold any files. They were just small little flash drives from a long time ago, probably 10, 15 years ago. And I don't know why we had them just sitting in a box. So that was my project, to go through all the flash drives, and I would kind of sort out what files we were saving, what we weren't. But I have this one flash drive that needed more TLC. It just has everything on it from my entire high school career. So that's probably not something that I can handle in like one sitting. So I decided to put it in my inbox and process it when I did my inbox processing. So the first question, is an action required? Yes. Number 2, can I do it in 2 minutes or less? No. Does it belong on my routines list? So this is where I can make a decision. I could either say I want this to be routine, where every Sunday I spend 10 to 15 minutes sorting through the files on this flash drive, deciding what's worth keeping, what's worth deleting forever. Or I could make it one of my projects of my current projects list, and I could say, hey, during this month I want to go through this whole flash drive. It's not really that big of a thing, so it wouldn't take the whole month, but it definitely needs some attention. So I have the option to say it's going to be a routine to sit down weekly and just spend a few minutes going through it, or I could make it an actual project, and then the next actions that are broken down from this project would be to spend 10 to 20 minutes going through the flash drive and then repeating that as necessary during different days for another set of next actions. So if I finish one set of looking through the flash drive for 10 to 15 minutes or whatever it might be, then I could say, okay, I didn't finish the whole flash drive, so now I'm going to keep that next action on my list as a new next action to go through the flash drive again for another 10 to 15 minutes. So that's where you can kind of be flexible with yourself and say, can I make this one of my routines? Do I have a lot of routines that are demanding my time and attention? If so, it probably is not a good idea to put something like going through this flash drive on your routines list. But if you're like, hey, I have some open project time and I want to make this one of my projects for the month, you could put this on there. And then of course, if you finish it before the month is over, you're always welcome to add in a new project or leave it as is. So I would probably put this on my projects list. I do have a lot of routines going on right now, so I don't think it makes sense for me to add this flash drive reviewing thing as my routine. So I'm going to add it as a project on my current projects list, and there's no deadline, so I'm good there. What is the next action? As I mentioned before, it's a computer task to spend 10 to 20 minutes where I have time during the week flexibly to go through the flash drive and then see what things I want to pull off. And hopefully it will only take a couple next actions to complete the project and then it can be done. And that's about it. Question 7 is are there any associated support materials? Yes, I'm going to put this flash drive in my office supplies box so it doesn't get lost in the bigger box that I have for my next action items. And I'll just make a note on my next actions list that this flash drive is in the office supplies area. And question 8, am I totally clear on when I will see this and complete it? Yes, I'm glad it's one of my current projects so I can finally go through this flash drive and be done with it. All right, and the final item in my inbox. This is so exciting. There's been a kind of a random assortment of things, but I think it's a good representation of how there's not really a lot of consistency week to week. It's just so many random things that end up in our lives, and I'm glad that we have these 8 questions to deal with all the physical and digital things. And I'm not really hitting on any of the digital things. Maybe I'll do one bonus one at the end because I kind of already processed all my digital things, so I didn't have those to pull from, but I do have all these physical things. So I'll do one more physical thing and then I'll look in my capture tool, and I think I have one of the digital things that I can process. So this next item in my inbox, it's a shirt of my husband's, and I did a really bad job trying to stain treat it and wash it. It's a white shirt, but it kind of turned blue because it got washed with other stuff. And then I tried to whiten it again, and then it turned the collar orange, and now there's brown spots all over the front. It's really bad. I don't know how I messed up a shirt this badly, but I did. So I told him that I was going to dye it for him because the shirt itself is really nice, but it looks really bad. So I think I'm going to do either a brown or a black dye, just so I can make the shirt wearable again and presentable. So is an action required? Yes. Can I do it in 2 minutes or less? No. Does it belong on my routines list? No. Do I need to add any projects on my tiered list? No. Is there a deadline? No. Well, actually, I guess this could be a current project. This is where you have to decide for yourself whether or not you can manage multi-task items on your next actions list, or if you need to make it a project. So for example, I can see this shirt being a 3 or 4 step next actions to get it done. So I can see in my mind, I'm mapping it out right now. The first thing I would do is just Google how to best dye a shirt. I'm pretty sure I know the process, but just to double check. Then to go buy said dye either online or at our local store, and then actually dye the shirt, and then wash the shirt, and then make sure it's good to go. So that's like 4 or 5-ish next actions. For me personally, I don't love putting these on my current projects list because I feel like it kind of clutters up my current projects list. I just know that when I have a lot of multitask items, I tend to keep my current projects list lower so that I can focus on my flexible next action tasks. That's how I personally decide to do it. But for some people, they're like, hey, if I have something that needs multiple next actions, it is 100% going on my projects list. That's just what I have to do to make it happen. So again, it's kind of up to each person. You just want to make sure you're not overloading yourself, because if I had 8 current projects, which is our recommended maximum, if I had 8 current projects on my current projects list and I was trying to do all these next actions, it wouldn't actually happen. I would be overloading myself. So I typically have 1 to 3 current projects on my list at a time, and then I have more things flexibly in my next actions list. That's just a personal preference. I've been using my Command Central for about 10 years now. So that's again something that you'll have to decide for yourself. Do I want more projects on my projects list, or do I want to have less projects and then more things that are next actions? And I just have to tell myself, once I cross off this next action I'll put it under my computer section of my next actions list. Once I put that under the computer section and I say, research how to dye this shirt, once I go to check off that next action, I need to ask myself, am I totally done with everything related to this item? And the answer is no. I need to go put under my errands section to go buy the dye for the shirt. And then that way I can actually move forward with the next actions associated with this t-shirt, and it won't stop right there. Once I check it off and say, yep, I've researched it, now I'm done, I know that I still have follow-up next actions. So again, up to you. It's personal preference if you want to make it a project, or for things that are smaller like this, you can keep it on your next actions list, but you really need to be mindful of making sure you're moving through the additional steps to make sure the item is totally processed and done and dealt with. And that's just going to come with time and just your own personal situation with how much you have going on. So it may work better as a current project if you have a lot going on. So I'll just leave that there. So question 7, are there support materials associated with this? Yes, I'm going to put the shirt in my next actions material box to wait for me until I'm ready to handle it. And then 8, am I totally clear on when I will see this and complete it? Yes, I am. It's on my next actions list to go research. So I have quite a few computer tasks and not as many home tasks or errands as I thought I would. So lots to do on the computer. All right. One final thing is a digital item. I recently am switching to a new doctor, and they sent me a online set up your portal, put in your insurance information, all that stuff online in the email. So number 1, is an action required? Yes. Can I do it in 2 minutes or less? Probably not. Does it belong on my routines list? No. Do I need to add any projects to my tiered list? No. Is there a deadline? Yes, before my appointment, but my appointment's not for 2 months, so I'm probably okay to not rush it. 6, what is the deadline? What is the next action? And that is on my computer again, so I can put under my computer section of my next actions list, set up online portal for doctor's office, and add a photo of my insurance card, whatever I need to do on there. 7, are there any associated support materials? Yes, that email is what contains the link. And I have a section in my email called immediate action, and that's things that are related to my next action items. So it's all the digital items that are related to my next actions. That email will go in that folder. And then question 8, am I totally clear on when I will see this and complete it? Yes, I am. It's one of my next actions, and I will get to that email sometime this week. So hope you enjoyed going through my inbox with me. Sorry it's kind of random, but I think it was actually pretty good to show lots of different things that need to be dealt with. And now I have a pretty good next actions list to work from this week. I think I had, 7, 8 next actions. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you know that anything that comes into your life can be processed with these 8 processing questions. Even if there's not a clear answer on what do I do next, you can go and research what you should do next. That is your next action. The same way I have to do that with my canvas here. I don't know what I'm doing with that actually. It's probably going to become one of my current projects once I can actually figure out the details. But for now, it's a simple next action that I'm researching, and then I can make it one of the projects on my current projects list when I'm ready. And it can be sitting in my next in line projects list too for a while. I don't have to jump right on it and make it a current project. And I just feel so good knowing that all these random items are not going to be cluttering up my home and my life. I know where they all belong and how I'm going to actually handle them. And I just love that feeling. It's feeling really good to have this weekend time to process my stuff and know that I can trust it and that things aren't going to slip through the cracks. So I hope you enjoyed going through that with me. If you want to share anything that you're processing, you're welcome to do so on the comments of the show notes page, learndobecome.com/episode 299. And then just one final reminder about Step Momentum starting. If you'd like to set up your whole Command Central in 3 weeks with our team and with lots of encouragement, some accountability check-in posts, and we're going to send out the homework assignments via email and text. So it's such a fun way to get your Command Central built and up and running and have that encouragement and accountability with our whole team and the whole Step Mastery community. So again, if you'd like to check that out, all the details are at learndobecome.com/momentum. And our kickoff call is starting on September 3rd, which is a Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. And then we'll have our 3 weeks of working on it. We'll have a week for catch up. And then we're going to have a live graduation call where we're going to celebrate everyone who builds their Command Central and is able to complete the simple assignments that we've set up. And when I say assignments, we're not giving you brand new things to do. We're just saying, hey, complete XYZ sections of the STEP program. And that's the assignment. And we give support resources. We have a couple bonuses there. So it's a lot of fun. And it's really encouraging to see so many other people going through the program live with you. And know that you're in great company, getting organized and setting up this system. And as we say, creating your simple system so you can truly do what matters most. So we'd love to see you join us on September 3rd for our kickoff call. We also have a recording available if you can't make it live, but it's going to be so much fun. And of course, we have so many free resources here at Learn to Become. We even have a free welcome kit where we have our directory and some extra resources that we've compiled for you. You can find that at learndobecome.com/welcome. And there's no shortage of podcasts and YouTube videos and things to learn from. So no matter what you're ready to do, if you're ready to join us in Step Mastery, or if you're going to continue listening to the podcast and enjoying the other free resources, we're so grateful that you're here with us. And again, the show notes can be found at learndobecome.com/episode 299. And I hope you have a great time processing your own inbox and all the things that are coming into your life. The questions are posted here on the show notes, and I'm just excited for you and can't wait to hear from you if you'd like to share anything with us about how you're processing things and making this happen in your own life. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time here on Learn to Become Radio.